a really warm welcome to our Year 10 Key Stage 4 Information Evening. With Year 10 now a few months into their Key Stage 4 courses, they've all pretty much got a good understanding of the various GCSE and vocational qualifications they're studying for. And by that I mean not just the areas they're studying, but also the key skills they need to develop, the language which they need to be using as part of the course. They'll have an awareness of how the course is being assessed, and also they'll have an understanding of the kind of level of work which they're expected to produce. And most of them have settled into a really good pattern of working across the year so far. But we often find that as students begin to settle into these routines or patterns of working, they can sometimes lose sight of the bigger picture. And by that I mean the real purpose that sits behind their studies. Why this 2-year period matters so much to them. And also why we continually encourage them to think beyond their academic studies and also think about making the most of all the other opportunities that are available to them here at Uffculme School. And that's why this is really timely at this point, just as they're getting their next report, to actually stand back and just think about why this time is so important to them and the next 18 months are going to matter so much. At Uffculme School, our aim is to help every child lay the best possible foundations for their future, so they can go out from here in the knowledge that they have the best possible opportunities available to them, so they can really choose their own path and not be limited in any way. We want their dreams to be real possibilities that are within their reach, not something that's closed off or unattainable to them. This evening, what I would like to do is take a few minutes talking to you about what we as a school are going to do to help students put those foundations in place. I want to talk about what the students can do to make that happen. And also would like to talk about what we would ask you as parents to do towards supporting your children over the coming months in laying those foundations. To help me, I've got a couple of colleagues who are joining me this evening. Lindsay Portman, who is our assistant head teacher responsible for curriculum and assessment, and also Tom Hurd, head of year, who many of you will already know. And we're also going to get a chance to meet a couple of ex-students of Uffculme School who've recently returned back to share some of what they've been doing over the past couple of years and also their plans for the future. And hopefully they'll also be talking about how Uffculme School helped prepare and equip them to make the most of those opportunities. So I'm going to stop now and I'm going to hand over to Lindsay, who's going to take us through to the next part of our presentation this evening. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Lindsay Portman. I'm the Assistant Head in charge of our curriculum. Unlike Key Stage 3, there is a clear endpoint for students. They'll be leaving the school to continue their journey to the next stage of their lives. Targets are a useful milestone for students that help them to focus on this endpoint. They provide no guarantees, but also impose no limits. Targets will help students understand the link between the hard work, what they put in, and what they get out, good grades. A big part of our ethos is encouraging students to always be striving to be the best they can be. Throughout Year 10 and 11, teachers will challenge and support students to go beyond and uncover their full potential. Most of you will have received your son or daughter's report in the post today, or you should be getting it very shortly. Please do take time to look through the targets with your child and have a look to see how they're doing in relation to those targets. Also have a look at the grades. These are projections of the grade they are currently on track to achieve. For most students, we're still early in the course, but they do provide an indication of how things have started and what needs to be focused on and prioritised, if anything. And of course, we always encourage students to look closely at the other reporting grades. These are very much the things that rest in their hands. Those are the things that they can influence. It is clear to us just how well students in this year group have started their courses, and we know if they do continue to work in this way, they've got the potential to do extremely well and achieve great things, even in these difficult circumstances. Most students will now have a good understanding of the types of courses they are studying. They might be all GCSEs, or a combination of GCSEs and vocational courses. Many tend to think that if they're doing GCSEs, there's no assessment until the end of year 11. Or if they're doing vocational qualifications, then there's no exams and it's all continuous assessment. Both of these things are untrue. Many GCSEs contain elements of coursework, or NEAs, non-examined assessments, and all vocational qualifications have external exams that count for nearly half the course. So whatever courses students are studying, they will have assessments over the next 18 months, and they will all have to sit exams in some shape or form. We have two key messages for students to be successful. They must know when the key dates are for each course, when they've got an exam or when an NEA must be completed. This is important so they can be properly prepared. They don't have to rush at the last minute and end up underperforming. Our second message, they need to learn the importance of steady application and effort, along with resilience and perseverance when the work gets hard. Their final grades come out of the daily work they put in, not a final push right at the end. While students certainly can make improvements in their grades by revising hard at the end, the reality is those who get the best grades do so through steady, continuous effort across the whole of the course. Whilst we continually emphasise these two key messages to the students throughout their time at Uffculme School, it is really important this message is continually reinforced at home. So that you have a sense of when those key assessment dates fall, we've included a brief outline in the report. These dates, when they're eventually fixed and confirmed, will let you know, so you can always keep up to date and know what's happening. And all of this information will also be on the website. The first big test Year 10 face will be the two GCSE courses they're entered for this summer. Since the start of Year 9, students have been working towards their GCSE RE qualification, and since September, they've all been studying for the GCSE English Literature course. We took the decision to enter all pupils for English Literature this year to ensure the whole year group would benefit from the reduced required content that's permitted in the 2021 course entry. We've carefully reviewed both of these courses in the light of disruptions, but we still feel confident that we should proceed to enter the students for this assessment in the summer. The vast majority of students have worked incredibly hard, and we don't want to waste their efforts. By entering students in Year 10, not only does this give students study time in Year 11 for their other courses, including extra study support time for all students, they'll also be able to include 2 actual GCSE grades on their college applications alongside their predicted grades. This provides really powerful evidence of their potential and can open up courses, post-16 courses that might not otherwise have been accessible to them. Having reviewed all the grades that have gone home on the reports for Year 10 this term, we can see that most of them are well on track to achieve or even exceed their targets, and we really want to commend them for their hard work and efforts in their studies. We know it's not easy at the moment, but there are even more things that students can do to get the most out of their remaining time here at Uffculme. Mr. Hurd will continue to talk about those things.
While academic performance is important, here at Uffculme School we realise that it's the other opportunities that we can offer that often make a huge difference to young people's lives. While we understand that at the moment that it can be difficult due to the restrictions, we're still really keen to encourage people to take part in the extracurricular activities that are on offer here at the school. With the exams coming up and the pressure of exams often taking its toll on pupils, we've got a really good history at this school of understanding that the balance between work and these opportunities that we can offer can often give a really good chance for people to add to their CVs, to relax, to have a stress relief, and also to make sure that they socialise and keep in contact with their peer groups both inside and outside of school. We know from history that pupils that really participate and get involved in the whole life of the school often thrive and do far better in the future. So with things like the senior leadership team, becoming a school prefect for somebody, getting involved in opportunities like 10 Tours and Duke of Edinburgh, not only can this further your CV, it can also obviously make you a more rounded person going forward into the future. Hopefully some of these challenges, things that might put you outside of your comfort zone, will really set you in good stead, will be an advantage for you when you go for college applications, as well as further future employment. Although it might seem like quite a long way away, actually now thinking about a future career, it's really important that we start to get some ideas about where we want to go, what our next steps will be when we leave Uffculme. We will have lots of careers advice for you during year 11, so hopefully by this time next year, you'll have your college applications fully secured and have a really good direction of knowing where you're going to go next. This often is a real big motivator for pupils, something to look towards, something to aim for, and really can help them with their studies to focus down on the key literature and information that they need that's going to help them in future careers. You'll have one-to-one careers advice here at the school. We've got our designated careers officer where you'll have a one-to-one meeting. She'll help you go through any applications that you might need to do, go through prospectuses, look at different courses with you, and be there to guide you as much or as little as you want that advice to be. Obviously, you can start doing this in advance now by looking at prospectuses and websites, looking at courses, having a chat with parents perhaps and older siblings about what they've done in the past. The more information you can gather now and start to gather really does help when it comes down to making your final decision. As I said, we'll be there to guide you and support you. Please take those opportunities and make the most of them when they become available to you. While many pupils really look forward to the challenges and the opportunities ahead, we're aware that there are some people that can find this quite daunting. I want to reassure everybody that we are there to support you. We've got a big network of support here at the school to be able to help you not only make the correct decisions, but also be there to guide you when things crop up from time to time that perhaps put an extra little bit of stress on your lives. Your first point of contact obviously is your tutor, whether that be the parents contacting the tutor or the pupil. We really urge you to have a really good communication line to that tutor. We've got 8 fantastic tutors in our Year 10 team who will go out of their way to make sure they can support you wherever they can, whether it be a quick phone call or a quick 5-minute chat, along with helping you with your application forms and any guidance you might need. Mrs. Alford, as many of you will know, will be available in the school reception. Again, she's contactable by phone or by email. Lots of people find it easy to go and drop in and see Mrs. Alford for a chat and a catch up, or if they're feeling a little bit unsettled about things. We have Miss Bilardo, who's our student welfare officer. She's also available by appointment for pupils if they're feeling a little bit stressed about studies or if they've got any concerns both inside and outside of school. She's available for meetings on an informal basis or a formal basis, and always around the school for people to drop in and have a chat with if they need to. We've also got Mr. Ellis, who's in our Flexible Learning Centre. For some of the pupils who perhaps need an extra bit of one-to-one support with their studies, he's available and will be working side by side with our pupils in order to make sure that they can really meet their potential. All the staff at Uffculme School are here to make sure that your time here is a successful one, that when you leave you have fantastic grades, you've had a really positive experience, and you're able to go on to further education, to apprenticeships, to work experience, into college, to make sure that you have got some fantastic memories behind you and that you can go into a future career of your choice. If you do need to contact the school at any time, as I said, the best method is through the main reception. They'll point you in the right direction and link you to the right member of staff who can help you.
Hi, I'm Lucy. I left Uffculme almost 2 years ago now, and I study A-levels at college, and I will be going to university to study law.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm at Exeter School now, studying my A-levels, and I'm doing maths, physics, further maths and geography. So I left the school in 2019, so I'm in year 13 now, and at the minute I'm looking at doing engineering at university, so that's my plan for next year.
It's taught me how to work hard, and I think from meeting other people from other schools, they don't have the same drive, I think, and it's like an Uffculme drive, and it's very specific to Uffculme, I think.
So I think there's so much support from teachers. They're all there to work with you and for you to make sure you can do as well as possible.
Uffculme prepared me to work hard at my A-levels, because at college, if you don't work hard enough, then you will get kicked off the course. And not only has it prepared me academically, but I've been prepared for UCAS and the university process, because I added on my personal statement all the experiences that I took part in at Uffculme, because universities want a well-rounded person, and I think all the opportunities I took part in at Uffculme helped me demonstrate that.
Yeah, I did all sorts really. So I was getting involved with sport, 10 tours, And then there's the academic things too, so there was like TED Talks that we went to. But I think overall it's the fact that you're getting involved in lots of things, it prepares you for the workload, so you learn to manage your time well. And then when you're coming on to doing whatever you do next year, or when you leave this school, you'll be prepared to manage doing lots of different things alongside your schoolwork.
So I was in numerous sport teams, hockey and netball. I was also in the senior council, I was deputy head girl, and I took part in Aspire, and they all helped me in different ways for sure, but senior council helped me work my public speaking, which is really important for like the career I want to go into.
So your teachers will have been helping you throughout your time at Uffculme, and particularly now that you're in the older years, they'll be focusing on you more than perhaps the younger ones, because you're, in their minds, the most important at the minute. So yeah, just speak to them. They won't be able to read your minds, but if you speak to them, then they can find out what they need to help you with, and they'll be very happy to help you.
Definitely, they gave up a lot of time to help me understand, and you shouldn't be ashamed to ask for help because you are studying something that's really difficult, so you need to be able to ask for help, and that's also an important life skill, definitely. And I think it's just seeing how much they cared about us doing well is really important, because they want you to succeed, you want to succeed, and then together, hopefully that will bring a positive outcome. I think it's both. I think it's the atmosphere that it creates, and so it sounds cringe, but it's cool to do well, I think, and that's important because everybody wants to fit in with their peers. So if everyone else is doing well, you want to be able to do well, and it shouldn't be just because of that, but I think it's both the staff and the students for sure. I think they understood the pressure that the students are under, and so if I was ever stuck on something, then they would work with me until I understood, and I think that kind of support is invaluable in succeeding, because if you have that support base from not only your parents and your teachers, then that is really, really helpful for a student.
What I'd like to do often is maybe those revision guides you get given, I'd work on a chapter, give them the book after, ask me some questions on this, and then they'll obviously pick up what you don't know. Even if they don't really know about the subject, they could just ask you, read part of it and miss out a word, see if you can fill in the topic words.
I would say, number one, most importantly, encouragement. And number two, it's encouraging them to be kind to themselves if they're struggling, because especially with the situation we're in now, it's understandable if you're finding things difficult. So I think it's teaching the children to have a kind mentality towards themselves.
I'd say the biggest thing is, when you make mistakes, you might have just had your mocks back, focus on the mistakes. That's the places where you can learn most. It's good if you get things right, obviously, because you know it. But if you don't know it, that's where you need to improve. So focus on those things, look at how you can improve them. And if you can't work out what you need to do, speak to a teacher. Again, they'll be there for you. And they'll be keen to make sure that you know what you need to know as well as you can know it.
I think definitely stay committed from the start, because you'll be thanking yourself later if you put in no effort now and expect to make it up all in year 11 or the last couple of months leading up to your exams. You are going to be so angry with yourself, because then you won't know what you could have achieved if you don't do as well as you wanted.
So I remember my tutor, Mr. Beach, once taught us there was this curve to do with learning. So effectively, when you first learn something, you know it really well. Then you forget that quite quickly to begin with. Then as you revise that thing, you learn it well, and the next time you'll remember it for longer. So each time you revise something, you'll remember it better. So sort of when you're doing your mocks, you might think, oh, I'm going to forget this all by the time it comes to GCSEs, but you'll know it better and it will stick with you for longer each time you revise it. So just keep plucking away at things along the way. Don't leave it all to the last minute, or you'll forget it fairly quickly once you've had a go at it. And also, if you work on things earlier, you'll find your areas of weakness sooner, and then you can focus on those things and pick them up better.
I decided early on that I wanted to do law, and I know how competitive the field is, and universities look at your GCSEs, and so I thought it's important to work hard now, and I'm being kind to my future self by taking that pressure off me. If I do well in my GCSEs, then I have something to back myself up. It also gives you self-confidence, because you can go into college knowing that you deserve to be there and that you can achieve if you work hard.
I'd say you want to be working hard for your exams for yourself. You're the one who's going to be putting them on your CV or whatever when you're going to college or wherever you go after this. You're the one who's going to have them with you for life. So you'll be working hard for yourself, not for your parents.
I'm going to say I nearly didn't go for head girl. I nearly didn't go for senior counsel because didn't think there was much point in me doing it. And in the end, it was kind of a bit of coercion from my parents to do it. And I was so glad that I did it, because it's taught me how to speak in public, it's taught me how to be confident, representing myself and other people. And again, it went on my university personal statement, and that looks really impressive.
Don't leave it all to the last minute. Just take it steady all along the way and you'll be fine. You'll do well.
As I said at the beginning of this evening, we all share a common goal in wanting to see your children use this time to lay the best possible foundations for their future. And I know that if we all work together, that will happen. There are 3 key areas I would really value your help with over the coming months and into next year. The first one is in prompting your children when there are key deadlines coming up. Not only to meet those deadlines, but to allow enough time to properly prepare for them. We want them to showcase their full potential at each point. And in order to do that, they need to be able to do it properly without rushing it. And so it's important that they can work towards those deadlines in the right way. After all, a good grade on a piece of work can really boost their final outcome. But equally, a weak grade can undermine that. So to allow enough time for it is really important. Secondly, we would really value your help in encouraging your children to keep going and not give up. We sometimes talk about the story of the tortoise and the hare, and there is that strong element of truth within that tale, that actually working steadily at something, working consistently at something will produce the best outcomes, and that's what we want. And thirdly, and equally importantly, is reminding your children to take care of themselves and their well-being, to strike that right balance between hard work and effort and also having some downtime. Just as some need sometimes that prompt and that nudge to get back to their studies, others will need that prompt to step away from their books and allow themselves a bit of time and space to relax and unwind. And often as children, they lose that perspective. So we really value you having, as adults, that insight and being able to help steer and direct them. And I'm sure if we do all of those things, together we're going to see the best possible foundations being put in place for your children. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. If you have any general questions, you can email us at the address which is coming on the screen now. But obviously, if you know that there's a particular question you need to direct to an individual teacher or tutor, you can contact them. Apart from that, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really value everything that you're doing to support your children through these times. Thank you. Good night.